Do you struggle to maintain weight loss but desperately want to feel good in your own skin, confident in your clothes, and improve your overall health? If so, you're home. Hey, I'm Sam. I'm an elder millennial, dietitian, specialist in weight management, and former functioning fat girl. I learned how to win at weight loss by breaking free from diet culture PTSD. My mission is to marry the science with practical, real-life strategies because we all know if it's not realistic, it's not happening. Are you ready to ditch diet culture and learn how to win at weight loss? Grab your water bottle and let's go. Before we get started on today's amazing episode, I just want to remind you that if you're not subscribed to my email newsletter, More Than a Number Weekly, you're missing out. I break down the most important points of these podcast episodes, provide you with effective freebies, and give you first dibs on any new offers or programs that I'm running. This is the best way to stay in contact with me, and you can even send in ideas for specific topics you want me to break down on the podcast. So don't miss out and go to bit.ly/MTAN weekly. MTAN like more than a number. So it's bit.ly, B as in boy, it.ly/MTAN weekly. Okay, let's dig into the episode. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the More Than a Number podcast. If you're new here, I'm Sam. I'm a registered dietitian and I specialize in long-term weight loss and weight maintenance. Today, we're diving deeper into a topic we touched on last week because it's something that I honestly think does not get talked about nearly enough in regards to a weight loss or health journey. And that is support. But not just support in this like vague, fluffy, blowing smoke sense of the word, if you know what I mean. I'm talking about what support actually looks like, why it often feels like you're not getting it, and how to ask for it in a way that actually works. Because here's the truth. Most people don't lack support in general. They lack aligned support, the right kind of support. I can't tell you how many times I've had a client say, Sam, my husband loves me and says he wants to be supportive, but he keeps bringing home all my favorite treats. Or he always wants to order food instead of cook healthy at home. Or my friends say they're happy for me and my weight loss goals, but every time we go out, they push me to eat and drink more than I planned. They're like, just have one, just live a little. It's the weekend. You don't have to be so strict all the time. Or your coworkers know you're trying to be healthier, but they keep bringing in all these dang snacks and desserts. And even though they know you're trying to be healthier, they directly offer them to you every single time. And it's confusing, right? Because you're like, this person loves me. Surely they're not trying to hurt me. Right? Surely. So why does this feel so hard? And what I want to help you understand today is that good intentions do not always equal helpful actions. So most people in your life are showing support based on their definition of support, not yours. So for example, if you're Italian like me, your partner might equate food with love. So to show you love, they cook your favorite meals or bring your favorite treats home. Your friend might equate food and drinks with a stronger connection or bond. So they push, for outings surrounded by food and alcohol instead of other types of get-togethers. Your coworker might equate food with bonding. So they bring snacks to share. And none of that is inherently malicious, but it just might not align with what you actually need right now. And when support isn't defined, it often feels like sabotage. So what does support actually look like? I'm going to break this down into 4 different distinct categories. Environmental support is number 1. This is the biggest one. This is what you're surrounded by, what's in your house or your workplace, what's visible to you, what's easy for you to get versus inconvenient and takes more effort. Because here's the reality. You're not making one decision per day around food. In fact, some research suggests the average person makes upwards of 220 to 230 decisions about food every single day. And some of us are above average. So if every time you walk into your kitchen, there's snacks staring at you when you open the cabinet, there's desserts in plain sight on the counter, there's easy, high-calorie options everywhere, you're constantly having to make the repeat decision to say no. And that is exhausting. We don't rise to the level of our motivation. We fall to the level of our environment. So we have got to get on top of our environment and what that looks like and get it aligned with who we are and our goals. The second type is emotional support. This is how people talk to you. And this one is tricky because sometimes people think they're being supportive. They think it, but it hits different. So, for example, oh, you don't need to lose weight. Don't get too obsessed. Don't lose too much weight. You don't want to look sick. You're fine the way you are. And while all those things might sound kind initially, it can actually feel very dismissive. What you need instead is encouragement, neutrality, and respect for your goal. The third type of support is behavioral support. This is what people do with you. So, for example, your partner joining you for a walk, or your partner respecting your workout time, actually helping you get out the door when you need to. I meet with moms all the time that say they plan to go for a walk or run to the gym at a specific time, but chaos happened in the house, something happened with the kids that they had to take care of because their spouse just couldn't get it together and take care of the situation themselves. It could be being flexible with meals and allowing for healthier choices, not giving the spouse that's trying to be healthier a hard time for making some changes to their typical meal intake. Because habits are social. And if you're trying to change, but your environment and your routines stay the same, well, that creates friction and you're not going to get very far in your goals. And the final type of support is communication. This one is beyond essential. This is feeling heard instead of dismissed. So instead of, you're overthinking this, it's really not that big of a deal, just relax. By the way, men, if you are listening to this, don't ever tell your lady to just relax. It is actually listening, asking questions, and being curious instead of corrective. Now let's talk specifically about spouses or significant others, because this is where things can get a little squirrely and complicated. When one person changes, the whole relationship changes. For better or for worse. It just does. And there's no getting around that. If you stop drinking, start meal prepping, go to bed earlier, start working out, all of that impacts your already established shared routines. And sometimes underneath that, there's a lot of discomfort and fear and even insecurity. Many people's relationships are based on food and alcohol intake, going out to restaurants and bars. So if one person doesn't want to do that as much anymore, it can feel almost like a betrayal of the union. The spouse or partner can wonder if you still love them. Are you going to leave them and find someone else? In the bariatric world, the divorce statistics are very high when one spouse has surgery because the other doesn't want them to look better and receive attention from other people. And just in general, change is scary for people. It can also point out things in the partner that they aren't ready to address or change. So the partner gets defensive and tries to put you down for actually wanting to improve yourself. Especially when both spouses struggle with weight and they're both kind of in this rut of poor eating, low activity, just an overall unhealthy lifestyle. One person decides it's time to make a change, but if the other isn't ready, then instead of showing the support that you need, they can unintentionally sabotage based on their own insecurities. It's being projected onto you, but it's really not about you. It's about them and their own problems and insecurities. So the resistance can really show up in full force, not because they don't care, but because the dynamic is shifting and change is scary. So how do we ask for the support that we need? This is where we flip the script on it. We talked a little about this in the last episode, but I want to take it a step further here because most people will just kind of hint at what they need and expect the other person to catch it. Just, throw out little hints here or there and then wonder why they're not getting it. They get frustrated and lose patience. They assume that the other person should just know what they need. But guess what? They don't. So we need to tell them and we need to be clear. Now, if you're clear and they do not comply, then okay, get frustrated. And that's a different topic for a whole different type of podcast that I'm not equipped to give you direction on. But we can't expect to get what we need if we don't communicate it clearly. So here's the 4-step framework for clear, direct communication of what you need in your weight loss journey. Number 1, you need to share the goal. Hey, I'm really trying to be more consistent with my eating, or I'm really trying to make it to the gym 4 times a week. And then number 2, we need to explain why it matters so much to you. I just feel so much better when I do it, or I really want to improve my health so I can be the best version of me for us and our relationship, or if you have kids, for our family. Number 3, ask for something specific. Don't give a vague, I just want to be healthier. You need to ask specifically for what you need. Hey, can we not keep ice cream in the freezer on a regular basis? I was thinking maybe we can make a date night of going to get good ice cream at the ice cream parlor once a month instead of keeping it at home all the time. And then number 4, invite collaboration. Ask them for help, even if you don't necessarily need it or if you don't care for their ideas or their suggestions. You need to ask for it, and they might surprise you, ask them, what do you think about that? Or what do you think would work for both of us? You never know. They might have some great ideas. And when you're actually asking for their input and inviting them into the situation, they feel like a part of it. They feel that they're being helpful. And then it's not so much like I'm doing this thing on my own and I just need you to do what I tell you to do. You're actually including them. And that last part is really important. You want to see what suggestions they may have. And if there's resistance to your suggestion, then you also want to get feedback as to why. If they have a problem with the date night at the ice cream parlor and they feel very strongly that they want the ice cream in the freezer all the time, then get their perspective on why that's important to them. because it's not about control. It's about reducing that friction and creating a shared solution, aka compromise. So we want to negotiate the home environment for both of you, because let's be real. If you don't live alone, then you're sharing a kitchen with someone else, and they want to feel seen and heard as well. So this isn't, sorry, not sorry, all your crap has to go. This is, let's make this work for both of us. A few examples: create a list together of what your main trigger foods are and how you can keep them out of the house. Other foods that may not be as difficult to trigger, but still just tough to see all the time, maybe just keep them out of sight. So use separate cabinets or drawers, or put them in like inconspicuous containers that don't actually show the contents. So for example, like if the package of Oreos, every time you open the cabinet, you see the package of Oreos, you know those Oreos are there, maybe take the Oreos out and get those dark like Tupperware containers that you can't see into, and close them up into one of those containers and put them in there. It may seem like simple and silly and that it wouldn't work, but I promise you, when your eyes are not equating that thing with Oreos, every time you open them, it's not showing you that double stuffed picture when you open the cabinet, you can be less likely to want to attack that container, if that makes sense. Use separate shelves or bins. Keep fewer options at home instead of eliminating everything. So instead of, like I said before, sorry, not sorry, we're getting rid of all your crap, like at least compromise on some things. And the mindset is, like I said, we're not trashing all of your stuff. We're just managing my triggers. All right. So we've talked about the home environment, which is huge. But now I want to talk about something that honestly can feel even harder for a lot of people. Support, or lack thereof, outside of the home. Because at least in your home, you have some level of control. Once you step outside of that, now you're dealing with friends, family, coworkers, social events, holidays, group dynamics. And this is where a lot of people start to feel like, why does this feel like straight up sabotage? Do these people even like me? So let's talk about what this actually looks like, because I want you to see it clearly and not just feel it. This can look like, the coworker who brings donuts every Friday and always offers them directly to you, even though she knows you're on a health journey. The friend who says, just have one, you'll be fine, every single time. The family member who insists you try everything at gatherings. Hello, Italians, I'm looking at you. Specifically the Barones, that would be my family. The comments like, you're no fun anymore. You're being too strict. You need to live a little. And here's what makes this so tricky. It's often wrapped in humor. Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you, love, or social pressure. So it doesn't feel like you can push back without feeling awkward or rude or like you're the one that's overreacting. I want to break this down because when you understand this part, you stop internalizing it so much. Food is a social connector. In most environments, food is connection. It's celebration. It's bonding. And I do believe that it can be love if used in the right way. So when you start changing your behavior, it can unintentionally disrupt all of that. For example, if your group of friends always grabs drinks, shares appetizers, bonds over meals, and now you're pulling back, it can actually feel like you're pulling away from them, even if that's not your intention. People just want you to stay the same. It's subtle, but it's powerful. And when you start changing your habits, it can make other people feel uncomfortable because now the dynamic is different. The routine is different. And sometimes it highlights what they're not doing, just how we said in the partnership example. Maybe they struggle with their weight too, and they feel pressure that they should be making these changes as well, but they're not quite ready. So instead of adjusting to you, they try to pull you back into what feels familiar to them. And this one's hard to grasp, but it's big. It's not always about you. Sometimes the pressure you feel has very little to do with you and a lot to do with their habits, their discomfort, their relationship with food. So when they say, just have one, what they're actually saying is, I want to eat this and I don't want to feel bad about it. So I want you to do it with me so that I feel more comfortable. Sounds a little negative, I guess, when you say it out loud, but that's really what's going on. That repetition really wears you down. So even if one comment doesn't feel like a big deal, it's that constant exposure that keeps adding up. Being offered food multiple times, having to say no over and over again, feeling like you have to constantly explain yourself, that is mentally exhausting. And over time, that's when it can start to feel like, why is this so hard to just stick to what I said I was going to do? So this is really important. This is what I want you to take from this. Most of this is not intentional sabotage, but that does not mean it's not challenging. And you are allowed to feel frustrated. You're allowed to feel tired of navigating it, and you're allowed to want something different. So let's reel it in and bring it back to the practical. Because again, we're not trying to create conflict. We're trying to reduce friction. You do not need to over-explain yourself. You can say, I'm good right now, and leave it at that. I'm not hungry, but thank you. I'm focusing on feeling better lately. And if it keeps happening, you can gently reinforce. I appreciate you offering, but I'm good. I'm really trying to stick to this right now. Don't negotiate with every single comment. This is the biggest thing. Not every comment deserves an explanation, a defense, or a debate. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is stay neutral and move on. Thanks, but no, and just change the subject. Remember your why, because in those moments, it's easy to get pulled into all of the pressures of the moment, the discomfort, all of that. But when you zoom out, you remember, okay, I'm doing this for a reason. This is my why, and I'm going to stick to it. You're not just navigating food, you're navigating the people, the patterns, and the expectations surrounding all of it. And that's why this can feel harder than you expected. All right, so let's bring this all together and recap, because we definitely covered a lot today, and I want to make sure you walk away with the pieces that actually matter. First, we talked about how support is not just this vague idea. There are different types of support: environmental, emotional, behavioral, and communication. And if those are not aligned with your goal, it can feel like you're doing this alone, even when people care about you. Then we talked about the dynamic with partners and the people closest to you. How when you change, it shifts routines, habits, and sometimes even the relationship dynamic. And that can really create friction, not because anyone is doing something wrong, but because things are different and change is scary. We talked about how to actually ask for support, not hinting, do not hint, not getting frustrated, but being clear, specific, and collaborative with your partner, because clear is the kind thing to do and specific works. We talked about your environment and how it's not about controlling everything, but about reducing friction where you can. And then we talked about support outside of the home with friends, family, and coworkers, and how food is social. Change can feel uncomfortable to others, and sometimes what feels like sabotage is really just people trying to grasp onto the way that it was and keep things the same. And here's what I want you to leave with today. You are allowed to need support. You are allowed to ask for the support that you need, and you are allowed to create an environment that makes your success easier on you, not harder. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to share it with someone who's part of your support system, so maybe they can get a better understanding. And as always, if you've been enjoying this podcast, leaving me a written review on Apple Podcasts means so much to me and really helps more people find this message. All right. I love you. God loves you. I'll see you in the next episode. Have a blessed week. Hey, friend. I hope you feel empowered by this episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share it with another friend who needs it? Also, it would mean the world to me if you would leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. Your reviews are what helps it get seen by more people who need it. Okay, time to go show up for myself, and I hope you do the same. I'll meet you back here next week for another episode. Have a blessed day.